Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GANs processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
In a health teaching, you said that the soul of the man leaves the body at the exact moment that she must go.
Yes.
This moment, I didn't understand what you're saying about it. You said in a teaching that is beyond your imagination.
You see,
if you could say about it, thank you very much.
Yes. Go back to the matter state. Maybe you understand better. In the matter state, the strength of the field of a magnet dictates its positioning. When you put two magnets next to each other, they create a distance gap, what we call magnetic gravitational field position. If you put a winding around one of the magnets, you can do it if you understand how to do it, and increase the flow of the fields in one of the magnets, you will see maybe the other magnets come slightly closer or move further. And you can reach to a position by creating these kind of magnetic fields, which is done for some military purposes, some industrial purposes, that the other magnet literally shoots up without doing anything to it. It becomes a trajectory. We see it in the slaughterhouses in a different shape, like a bullet, but it's releasing and attracting. Now, your solar physicality becomes that winding. And your soul becomes the other magnet. But in this case, the solar physicality has given its energy to the soul. So now the soul is energized. And when the point comes that the soul of the man's energy surpasses the blood flow cage, it takes off. And in taking off, what happens? The physicality stays behind, but the soul has gone. Point of death. Why most of us die at the old age? If you can keep the circulation of the blood and the energy levels of your body at a strength that does not come low than controlling the cage of the field of the soul, you do not die. You can extend your life. The minute the soul of the man receives more energy as part of the information, emotion, and whatever else, and the cage becomes rusty and weak, the soul has nothing to hold it. It becomes the point of death. So our aging is by circulating less blood, feeding the soul more from the soul of physicality in dimension of emotion and whatever energy, it becomes more powerful and it jumps, it creates that, it becomes that bullet to a new position, breaks through the weak cage, which is rusty, which is the old age of the man, the blood cannot hold the circulation that is strong, then you die. Because the soul is gone, physicality stays behind. It's an escapism for the soul of the man. We escape from it. We become good in doing it, and in that process, we interact, we increase, we add to it by expansion of strength. And that's how the death comes. Physical separation of the soul of the man from soul of physicality. But you got to understand, the minute this process starts, which the soul of physicality becomes slowly aware that is losing control to the soul of the man, it transfers most of the energies which are within it, within the soul of the man, within the soul of physicality of man, and the physical energy of the body of the man to the soul of the man. So it suddenly receives a rapid field energy because it's aware, the blood flow is weak, and then the soul departs. It becomes that bullet. But that bullet, through its interaction and field strength, has already destined for a position for it to find its balance. And then in that position, it becomes, because it has no physical structure, soul physicality with it partially, it becomes a star. And that star starts a new life as in a galaxy, in the universe, as it does in the world of the creation. In a way, you created a soul shooting star, and you have to see if it has enough at the point of arrival that it becomes the source, it becomes the beginning of the new cycle for the soul. The whole purpose of creation is to create new essence of creation, which is another star, which is the soul of the man, but not within the physicality of the man, but in another dimension. And doesn't matter how long you keep this together, you can always play it one against the other or one within the other, that you live everlasting life of the Creator. I made man in the image of myself because I become the man that within it, having connection with me, I keep total integrity and totality of integral fields of what I started with, so I don't lose anything. And this is the secret of creation. It's the secret of life in the dimension of the existence. As the Arab says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. This is it. This is the final, as we understand the beauty of the Creator. All the beauties are given, and there is no more. It's you who have to understand how beautiful it is. As all the beauties, Rahmat, which is the kindness, the love of Creator, is already given. It's us who have to understand.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 551st Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, August 15th, 2024. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be your host once again in this weekly series of Knowledge Seekers Workshops. And once again, we have the honor of being joined with Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, who will be guiding us through today's workshop. So, Mr. Keshe, are you ready to begin, please?
Yes, thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this. Is of Knowledge Seekers from the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. The life of the man has a limitation of physicality, but the life of the soul of the man has no dimension of physicality, no dimension of termination. It always converts to another, or it amalgamates, or it starts a new life. But what is interesting is that when it starts that new life, how much memories of his time in the body of the man it remembers. What is imprinted in that soul? When we receive the rays of the sun, which becomes part of us, whose soul that sun has been, that is become the seed, and then it become a star, that it led to the creation of the planets, and then the man, and the rest of the creation in this solar system. We always look where our soul is going to be, how it's going to be. We never look that what we become in some point or another has been part of the soul, or is the soul of another created things that is being in a position, it has elevated itself to the level that it could become the seed of a sun, which its rays has become us. And there is no other truth beyond this. And that is when our soul takes position in the world of the creation, in the universe and the unicorns, what the star shall we make? And what creatures, what kind of life will come out of it? And most importantly, we transfer energies, we transfer emotions. What and is how the man is today has come through the soul of his star, which has reflected in his, what we call, emotion, and has created the man the way the man is today. In a way, is our soul, is our being, a reflection of the soul which has created the sun. I made man in the image of myself. There is no cameras. There are no mirrors, only collection of the fields. We speak about the DNA and we speak about the RNA. Is our physical life the DNA of the star? And is the RNA the soul of the star, which is within our soul? And does or is our soul reflection of its emotion? Has the soul, we call it the sun, the soul which led to the creation of the sun, has been a good guy, that he was, or it's what they call it, momentum, his emotions, has led to creation of the star we know as the sun, as our creator, as essence of our creation. And was or is the manifestation of the life, the way we see it, depending on which condition we put it, Earth, Moon, Mars. In essence, all will have the soul of that who created the sun. Then you understand, is your soul one day is going to be that sun, which gathers the energies of the universe and in its reflection creates another life. And through his RNA, through the magnetic field of strength of his creation, reflects back in creating life like earth, like living thing, not necessarily like man, that reflects is what he carried as memory, as part of RNA in the time of his creation. Is this far from the truth? Or is this the reality of the creation? In the present world of science, we could not see in the dark. We developed technologies that we can see in the dark. Now there is no darkness in the way we have a vision. We can see. With the new technologies like the new cameras and the mobile phones, we have observed many times when the energy of the body of the man has been released. So we see it for the first time. As I've said this before, the energy of the man, the energy of the soul of the man. What is left for us is to trace it. If we get educated enough, it's like a smoke. We follow it to see where it goes. And then would be fine in that position, the spot where it lands, where it finds its magnetic positioning, what will create in time? Would it create another cycle? And due to his fingerprint, due to his memory, due to his emotion, which he carries from the time of being the man, would he create another cycle, which end up in killing? Then the biggest question comes, has the creator, has the world of creation isolated all the souls which are created on this planet as they all kill? and now is trying to handle this virus, and they come to the source to eradicate killing from the what we call genetic RNA of this planet. But what about the soul of the sun, which came from the same position? What happened to that race? Then we understand why it's necessary to change the man from inside. That he realizes he can use the energies of the universe, then the packages that the universe has created for it to create new cycles at the point of maturity. The crime of the man is that he does not allow the natural process to take place. When you die naturally, when animal dies naturally, where the soul of it has departed, is that physicality in the energy form at the level that man can consume? Or does the man has to stop that point of maturity by killing the animal, by harvesting the food, by harvesting the wheat, by harvesting whatever? This is where man needs to understand the process of creation. We keep on talking about where would our soul go, but we have to stand still. Where did our soul come from? The fields of the soul. In essence, there's been no gold unless the field interaction of the sun with the field interaction of the earth has created the condition that it has led to the manifestation of physical structure of the sun. On it, in the matter, in the essence, in the physicality of the gold. So it's the same with the man. Would it be possible for man in the future to leave a marker on the soul? That when that soul goes through that marker, can say this is the soul of the father, or this is the soul of this, or the soul of that in that position in the universe. We talk about man immigration on this planet. And we built walls to stop one moving from one to another. We've done everything, we created the borders to be. But in the life of the creation of the soul, there is no borders. There is no restriction except by the strength of the field that the soul carries. Then you understand the purpose of the teaching. The soul of the man, the soul of the created which kills, has been gathered like in a part, in a dimension that cannot elevate to become, to reach the elevation of the strength of the soul of the creator. The man's behavior has blocked him by his own action from the time of the birth to reach that point. When we create the children of Mitra, when we create child from the soul of the man, which is not dependent on the physicality of the life on this planet, to kill, to elevate, we already set the scene for that soul to be able to go to the higher point, to be able to reach to the level of the rest of the creation, in the level of the strength of the field of the creator. in a way, at birth, we have got the shackles of not being able to elevate to higher. Because the first mouthful of meat, whatever other thing which we have killed for, comes within us. He has changed us. He has made us to be what you call in Indian the lower class. In a way, our own behavior of physicality has put us in a class of behavior that cannot reach the elevation. This is why we brought and try to understand the process of the creation through the soul. Because if man learns to create his offspring through the essence of the soul, not created things, does not know how to kill, does not know how to destroy, because he has learned from point one to absorb energy from the resources of the universe without killing. The love of the Creator reigns on all created the same. It's you who puts the umbrella up and it says, I don't want to get wet. I don't need the rain. By behavior, by killing, by the way we've been brought up, because our parents kill and they fed us with it, to us is known. We have come to a point of blanking. No, we don't want to know. Man has never endeavored to go to the next level. What about if I don't kill? What about if I don't destroy another package of plasmas? We call it the physicality or the soul of entity. What happens then? There is so much more. The expansion of the soul become unlimited because man has limited by killing his own prison, his own physicality, his own dimension, where when you receive that energy from the universe, man has no dimension of physicality. The universe is your oyster. And this is the whole purpose of these teachings. For you to learn how to create children of Mitra through the interaction of the soul. And with it, from the first point, instead of going to the shop and buy the meat, buy a rice, buy a bread to feed it with, ending another life to do it, you teach it how to take energy from me through my soul. We know how to do it. We've been born with it, but we have misled to understand it. We call it the love. The love of the mother through the soul can feed the child. Child does not need to kill for it. This is the next step of understanding, the next level of educating the man. That loving. How come the child feels your love? How come you understand the love? Have you ever heard your child when the child says, I love you, Dad, love you, Mom? Why didn't we nourish that love? If she felt it at the age of 1 or 2, the first words most of the children learn is to say, I love you. What about, I feed you through that love, that you do not need to commit a crime. I don't give you the gun to go and kill. I don't put what I killed in your mouth, but I give you the essence of the creation. And this is where the turning point comes. And this is the reason we do everything about space travel, UFOs, transmutation, is to get you to see this point. Create children that they might love me. Because If they understand the love in the language of me, they do not need to commit the crime to distance themselves from me. This is where the color, the race, the religion, the creed doesn't come into play, because you create that soul within the body of the man, and you feed it through that channel. You feed it through, and you teach it to, and then it's learned within the womb what to take. Does not need to take the breast of the mother to feed itself. Mother has already, through the structure of the interaction of the soul, connected to, has taught the soul, when you come out, you don't need to kill, because you use the energies, within you, within the environment, to create, to become humble, that you receive, and with it, you grow. A child of the man takes a year to learn to walk, because that's the way man has decided through his soul, I needed to confirm my existence. A child of the animal in the jungle and in the savannah, they come out of the mother, and within a few hours they're ready to go. Some within the point of the birth, they already know how to go. If we have changed that in the structure of the soul of the man, then we can teach our children through the soul of us, that they don't need to kill. They walk when they come out directly through the motion of the soul of the man, not the physicality of the leg of the man, and the leg can follow, does not matter what. You need to interact with the soul. Physicality moves without. And I've said that many times, and I refer to it many times. Maybe now you understand in a deeper way. When I moved the hands and the legs, Naomi, being behind a glass and never been in touch with. It's a gift we all have. We say the Christ raised the dead man. He rose the soul and the physicality, walk with it. This is what we keep on saying. You can feed the soul, and the soul feeds the physicality, that the physicality does not need to kill. Just takes the shape of the time, place and position in what it loves to be. A minute the man, another minute an animal, another minute the stone, because all is within the grasp of his control. And then you don't need to study for years to understand anything. You're already through the same channels. As you get the energy to grow, you receive the energy, the knowledge of the creation. I made man in the image of myself, not in a physical dimension, but in the knowledge too. The same as with the love, the same as with all the emotions within me. Is man who has brought himself and degraded himself to this level. Then if you understand this, does not matter the age, 18 or 80, if you come to the point of creating life in the essence of the soul of the creator, you create that child, the soul of Mitra, within dimension of the physicality. Then you understand, does not need a man or a woman to give life. Hasn't the Creator created all of us from himself? Or who is his partner? then we understand we have not understood much about what we think we understood and how we are created from and how our creation can change according to the emotion of the fields, what we call the soul of the man. Many times I try to teach this to you. Many times with different games and different parts, I try to bring for you to understand. Maybe now you understand. This is why even we established the Universal Council through the essence of connection of the soul. Knowledge, the wish, you call it, is not a wish, it's the energy of the creation of the peace within the man. For man to learn, there is another dimension that you do not need the physical contact, you need not the physical presentation, but through the interaction of the field of the soul, you create that. Now you understand how any of you who wishes to have a child can create that child, nourish it, and allow it to give its own existence. And if you understand this, you understand the point of this understanding brings you to a new dimension, brings you to a point that even the food of the physicality is not needed. Life becomes everlasting. It is just you change clothes. It wears off. You use the clothes, and now it starts getting torn. You put it away, you buy another one, you can choose a new clothes. Physicality has a dimension on this planet. You change the soul into another dimension. You want to stay here for 1,000 years, 10,000 years, you're quite welcome. All you need is to change the clothes. It's a bit dusty and torn. It's got old. Isn't this what we've done for thousands of years? Man's years, and maybe not even a second in the dimension of the world of the creation, where we still have thousands of years to go. Not the man's years, but the universal years. If you call 1 year the life of the man, the rotation of the earth coming back to the same point, now take 1 year and the further distance from the center of the universe and let it come back to the same point. We live in thousands of years in the cycle of the universe. Then you see how insignificant is life of the man's lifetime. Is not even a second in the life of the universal cycle of motion. But there is another point. Does the soul travels in the same dimension? And how do the souls interact? One day, when you go to what we call sea park, through the safari park or whatever, and you come across these huge tanks, usually with jellyfish in it. Stand still, stand back and look at them. You'll see they usually rotate in the direction of, but you see they go from the top one to the bottom, but they have no real tangible physicality. We just see through them. Isn't this the soul of the man? Isn't this the way the soul of the man behaves? Isn't this the way the contribution of the fields of the universe allows our soul to be dynamic within the structure of the creation of the universe? Then stand back and choose one of the jellyfish and see how your soul will travel in the dimension of the creation of the universe. You still touch, you still go to the center, you still go in the boundary, you still are everywhere according to what the others accommodate you and what is your wish to be. You never see jellyfishes head banging. They all know their position, they all know their distance, they all understand Magra positioning to the emotion of the feeling of the soul within. Then ask yourself this question: where and how do I want? And as parents, as fathers and mothers, would you prefer to bring a child in the dimension of physicality, or would you create a child within the dimension of the fields of the universe as the soul of the Mitra, and then nourish it and teach it the way of Mitra, the way of the Creator? Do you think you love the child of soul any different than the child of physicality? Or would that become envious for you, that you cannot live like the one you have created, detached from physicality? Or you learn from it how to become detached from killing, from destruction. Then you understand how the world of creation works, how the whole structure of the creation has laid out. It's us, by behavior, teach our children to become a killing machine from birth. But now we make it criminal if it kills one of us. But it's not criminal if it kills a cow or a sheep or a bird or a wheat. We have become, in a way, criminals of the criminals, and we decide who we're going to punish. If you kill one of us, we block you up. But you kill a lamb and a cow every day, you're a beautiful man, you're a butcher. How many butchers have been put into prison? Now you understand. It's us who has to change the understanding of the creation. And with it, once we understand, we change the world of creation for ourselves. Why have we classified killing and have given it different value in the structure of the physical life of the man? We take a man, shoot another man, he's a murderer. We give a man on his back, we send him to the woods as a hunter. And we are proud in what we hunt. Why don't we take that weapon from the birth from both, that they do not need to kill? What about if the hunter carries the emotion of the inside of the love, when he sees the deer, with the love it brings it to, enjoys its existence, and they part with learning from each other's love and how to live. Has a bullet written on a different crime. If the gun is in the house to go for shooting animals and you're a hunter and you're proud, you take the same gun, the same bullet and kill the man, you have committed a crime and you're in prison. When the time comes, man learns that he's a criminal in both direction and dimension. This is why we have to learn how to transmute. This is why we have to learn how to use the fields of the universe, the matter state of the universe, which is gathered life. This is the difference. We are criminals, and in that point of criminality, we have like gangsters with different values for our gang than the others. And anybody who commits a crime in the gang, we punish. You can kill anything except man. And if you kill a man, you committed a crime. But you can kill as many as animals as you like. Where does the sanity of this comes to a man? Do we give a different punishment if you kill a black man, the white man, the yellow man, the dog, the cat, the fish, the pig, the cow? Now you understand why man first needs world peace on this planet. That in that peace, that in destroying the system of killing, then he comes to understand, I don't kill myself, race, why should I kill other races? Then man looks deeper inside to find a way not to kill. We have found a new trick. We are vegetarian, we are vegan, but we kill more in the pot, in the shape of the souls, in the shape of the soul of the rice, the wheat and everything else. Because we have drawn another line. What walks, you kill is criminal. What doesn't walk, has got no mouth, cannot make any noise, I eat. So it doesn't say anything, I'm not a criminal. This is why we need to learn to create children, nothing but the only way through the soul of the man, through the ethos of nature. Then that child will never commit a crime, it'll be a perfect child. Walks on this planet and be loved by every citizen of it. Doesn't matter the cat, the dog, the man, the woman, the president, the farmer. snake, or whatever. The first of that child is amongst you. It's for you to find out, to live the path. The seed of the creation understanding is within you. It's you who have to enlighten it. It's for you to understand the process. It's for you to be able to understand, to draw the line, not by country, not by race, not by religion, but draw the line. I do not consume no others, except what is available for me to accept. That day is the point of the day of judgment, when you judge yourself and you decide to go from the physical life to the energy life. And it's you who will decide. It's you who make that decision. It's you who bring that change. You don't need no prophet, no fear, and no promises. It's the point of maturity. It's the point when you understand the truth about the creation and not the fallacy the man has made about his own created and creation. And we have muddled this thing so much, and we have muddied the water so much that we don't even understand ourselves where we stand, because by mudding it, we can do whatever we like and cover it under the banner of ignorance and not knowing. I hope you understand what this means. As I said last week, we started with number 1. So we start teaching the man how to start to use his soul to feed itself. How to use his soul to start to create a new race of man. Tomorrow, those of you who join us on the Friday session will have the first taste of this. I'll take you through, and I'll bring you to the point, then you have to decide. It's good to transmute. As I said, it was good to fly, but what happened when I get there? It's good to transmute, but what are you going to do when you get? Are you going to start another mayhem, another sun which leads to creation of life the way on earth is? Or are you going to create a life which is perfection? In a way, we are at the junction to stay the way the physicality of the man is today, with the DNA and RNA which is dependent on destroying other life, or we change our structure of understanding and move to another dimension in taking what's available, but not killing to be alive. In tomorrow's transmutation, some of you might see something totally different than what you're used to. Emotions that has never been apparent to you, understanding of a new dimension. And any of you who wishes to create a child of Mitra, you're quite welcome to do so. It's you who have to decide, not in the dimension of physicality, but in the dimension of the soul. And then we shall see. Then we understand. Then we carry on, and then we understand there is no limitation in the physicality of the man, as this physicality can be replenished At any point through elevation of the soul of the man, when it elevates its own soul of physicality. It will be interesting to see how many of you tomorrow reach that point. And then it'll be interesting if you come back, you like to accept the dimension of physicality, or you become the teachers to teach how to elevate. We are here just facilitating. It's you who has to educate yourself. We are the library with all the books in it. It's you who has to pick the book up, read it, understand it, and digest it, and live by itself, by your rules and nobody else's. There is no fear and there is no punishment. We go for a break and we come back and try to answer any questions. Rick, if you can take us through a break, a small short time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. I'll remind people that we do have a new YouTube channel that we'll probably have a look at in the second half of our show. And during the second half, we will also have an opportunity to ask questions of Mr. Keshe. So keep that in mind. If you're part of our attendees here in the Zoom, you'll be able to put up your virtual hand, and then we can open your microphone so you can speak. And there's also an option to write your questions in the YouTube or Zoom chats. Okay, we'll have a brief break and be back.
The new Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit. A plasma space technology to prepare humanity for transportation and transmutation in deep space. Essential processes are embedded to prevent mutations and psychosomatic conditions during deep space travel. This new system is designed to support upper body conditions, especially of the lungs and intestines, and can be targeted specifically for each organ. When inside the Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the body experiences balance in totality, enabling it to correct and rebalance all the fields within itself. The new Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a dimension in health and transportation never seen before. The revolutionary new Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit is due to be launched in June 2022, and in the same year is expected to fly passengers into space, to the moon and beyond for a day or even several days at a time. There is no need for the Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit to carry food or medicine, as it is equipped with the latest space technology for transportation, transmutation and deep space operation. This extraordinary breakthrough technology ushers in a new era of travel without the need of fuel, food, or medicine, even during the longest excursions into deep space. Each spaceship unit has a 4-passenger capacity for long or short duration flights, and has the capability to travel between cities on Earth in a matter of seconds to minutes, depending on the distance and speed. This ability to traverse massive distance in such incredibly short time is not just a breakthrough for human transport, it also completely revolutionizes the transportation of goods and cargo, and will rapidly overcome the need for one of our most polluting practices, namely marine shipping, as it finally breaks us free not only from the combustion of heavy diesel, but from the combustion of any fuel for propulsion in the future. The Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a new paradigm in space travel, space medicine, and space technology.
Okay, back again at the 551st Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, August 15th, 2024. Well, how would you like to begin, Mr. Keshe? I know that you'd like to cover the new YouTube channel, so perhaps we can have a look at that if you like, and it's up to your timing, how you'd like to go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. The YouTube channel launch is separate on this channel. If you can put the link on the screen, people can pick up on it. This channel is put in strictly and completely about the teaching of the Keshe Foundation, without any other part. In a way, it's set up and it's done that is no what do you call knowledge seekers question side, or there is an answer to some questions. Try to be very much directly to the point of the knowledge, and it's for part of it you'll see you already seen, but it's primarily for the new people who are coming in. We have started working on a different international level, and this brings a lot of new people to see what the Keshe Foundation is. And this new Keshe Foundation YouTube is pure teaching, pure knowledge. And the team behind it, people who are helping and supporting, are trying to make it in a way reachable by everyone, easy to translate, easy to work with. And we have started giving this to many people to start coming in to look at whatever it is. And if you're in the X, what used to be Twitter, if you are in different channels and groups, promote this. Let people come to see, come to understand the technology. Listening to 3-4 hours of teaching and knowledge seekers is very hard, but 10, 15 minutes, 5 minutes pieces that it brings the knowledge forward very rapidly is much easier, is understandable. People have time for it to do. And it builds up. It's part of the Brazilian education part, it's getting added to it, part of the Keshe Foundation teaching, and it's easy. They're trying to see if we can be easy to translate it to the languages directly. And I hope this makes it easier for knowledge seekers to come in, and the group will change one to the section for the soul, one section for transportation, one section for transportation, that when you come in, you don't get lost. You go directly, I want to know about the soul, I want to know about transportation. And the team will build this up section by section about the physical transportation, the systems and whatever. This takes years to build. It's not going to be tomorrow's job. And even I have started using it this week by even limited number of what you call videos or whatever, to give to the people to just have a look. If you want, go in there. You don't need to go in 550 sessions. You go in there, what is selected from them is then only going to get added. You can make the things, pieces like what Lisa has made is a good pieces, just parts put in there. We learn part by part, we add to it. And that's what the purpose of it is. Easy, short term, down to the point, understanding, and promote it wherever you are. And you will see the feedback on it. Otherwise, it's a reference point. It does not need to have, it doesn't have any pieces that they're infringing. It's a pure knowledge from us and what we use and the way we are. I hope you enjoy it. And at the same time, this channel will be used for promotion of the flight tests. What we do, when we do different tests, when we do different things, you can, we make you aware of it on this channel. Instead of doing the blueprints and then everybody coming and everything else, as we do the tests, we give data as it comes up, we post here. So we can put it on the, what we call regular alert that anything comes up, you get informed if you like to do it that way. But as you know, we are heavily around the clock working around the space technology and the transmutation and transportation. And we start putting these things up and adding to it and showing how it is, how it can be done, new systems develop, new technology develop. Now that the Keshe Foundation is going through large clinical trials with the health application, once these trials completed, the data will be released on the Keshe Foundation on this website. Once we go through commercialization of the structure of these, what we call materials, we will use this channel to bring it to the attention that it can be done in other parts of the world. It can be done through the structure, what has been achieved. Because up to now, we always did everything in the Keshe Foundation without giving a structure outside. Now, the emphasis is to give it the structure in outside, that it becomes acceptable by general public. The November flight system in Iran is another part of it. We try to promote it as we go. We try to bring that in. The structure of new systems will be done the same way. This becomes a backing for spreading the knowledge and keeping up to date with what is coming. And I thank the people who are working hard in the background to put this together. This is what a lot of knowledge has been asking for years. Now we have brought it as in this childhood step, and you all can join in. If you see a section, the Romanian section to it, add the French section to it, add whatever you want for the languages. But you have developed as a video. It has to be short. It cannot be using music from somewhere and put something else. It has to be directly from the teaching. And it'll be controlled, and it does not need to be all in English. Create your own sections within it, but nothing but direct teaching. And that's what the purpose is. No music from somewhere that it bridges somewhere, infringes somewhere. You cannot do. It has to be within the guideline of the channel, that nobody can object to it, but you teach in different sections: agriculture, health, wellness, sports, or whatever. And I hope you enjoy it. And hopefully it'll bring a new dimension into teaching for the other people to come, literally pinpoint into the position, part they want to understand, and go. And hopefully at the end of each video, it tells you from which teaching, which section it has come from. That if you want to listen to most of it, you can go back to that teaching subject, teaching number 250, such a minute is there so people understand that teaching that time if they want to go more in depth in it. And I hope you enjoyed it.
Mr. Keshe, I'd like to play the introduction video. It's about 1.5 minutes. That might be a way that people can get a taste of the channel.
Yes, go ahead, please. I have to say,
Introduction to the new.
Sorry, did you say something?
no, you say it's okay. I have to say this is written, what is read here by me is the introduction to the new science. So it is directly what we feel, what we think, and down to the point that you can enjoy the channel in a beautiful way. Go ahead, please.
Keshe Foundation YouTube channel in 2024. New space era and energy for peace. Energy of plasma. When man discovered atomic and nuclear science, with it came the wars and the threat of annihilation of humans. In this channel, we open new horizons and bring forth not only new theories, but new systems and technologies which have been developed and marketed in the past decade. We go into the inner sanctums of neutrons, protons, and electrons, and we find only magnetic fields, their interactions, and what is created from these interactions. We find the origin of the essence of life, that everything is created from the interaction of fields. We are redefining energy and plasma state as a magnetic field in motion, the energy of peace, becoming a gift to humanity, the source of prosperity of mankind, and independence. The use of fuel and rocket technology has become obsolete. The new age of Keshe space plasma technology uses magnetic fields of matter, not the matter itself, and cosmic rays to create motion, food, water, medicine, and more.
Ah, lovely little video, I would say. Well done.
Thank you. In a way, as we said, as is the title of it, with nuclear, we brought mayhem. With plasma, which makes the nuclear, we bring peace. It's for the governments, for the scientists to understand, to appreciate it, and then use it. And usually it takes a long time for man to mature to the knowledge. And hopefully this time man matures much faster. Much, much faster. And we have to see how you, as knowledge seekers, and those who come after you, will enjoy this, understand this, and will use this. If there is any other point you want to raise, then we can go to the questions, if there are any questions.
Okay, thank you. Let's have a look here. Joel Richard in the Q&A says, hello, Mr. Keshe, and thank you very much for your teaching and for the books you wrote. I hope that many of the students have read them. I've read them. Many people ask me for the video about vineyards. I hope you'll put it on the YouTube channel. Thank you. God bless you.
Yeah. Give it to the people who do this channel. Send it to Raphael and his team. and they most probably put it on the agricultural part. These are what people can refer to and see the practical side of the technology. We have to do this, but as long as there is no infringement, there is nothing music used by somebody who needs licensing. You have to be aware there is a very tricky thing with these licensing things, the musics even you play. You're allowed to use the music as long as it's not on a public channel. When you put any music on any sections to go on this channel, you have to make sure if there is a license fee to be paid for it, you pay it before you use it. Not just because it's free. Yes, for private channels, for private teachings, you can use them, but not on the public channels. This is why we open this. You can't put the Keshe Foundation in danger just because you made something and you think it's good for others to learn and do. And we don't want to flood this, channel with just people's work to be put on. Educational wise, that's a decision of the people who run this channel and upload up. It's a lot of work. And I'm sure Rafael will put a group in charge of this to monitor, to knowledge seekers who wanted to do the teaching and that part, to control and what is thoughts, then everything is correct. We need to show the practical side of it, but at the same time, we have to be making sure, because a lot of knowledge seekers make things and get everything from everywhere, other articles, trying to confirm what they do, what they don't understand, that they breach this, the protection they have put around sharing or whatever. You have to have a license for it. There's no copies can be made, unless it's your original work, nothing else. And then how correct it is. Because this channel, you cannot teach something wrong and then people say because it's on your channel. I presume we all learn gradually from it. And gradually we become good at it. Any other question?
Okay, from Berang in the Q&A says, hi, Mr. Keshe, can I ask if information can be considered to be a dimension? Because for creation, first we need the information of the process of creation. For example, creation of time and space needs its information first, and if all information of creation comes first. Thank you very much.
It's the story of the egg and the chicken, isn't it? But this time it's more defined. We know which part is egg. The information is part of the structure of the, what I call communication. This is the way I always looked at it. We all receive it. Depends how we communicate with, how we use that communication. And it is the backbone of the creation. Even the thoughts, even the enlightenment is the process of creation. If you put it that way, enlightenment is a kind of emotion which we react to it and becomes knowledge or becomes behavior. And these are what I said many times before. These are the things which we do not consider as an emotion, but it is part of it. And it's the same with the knowledge and the information. The beauty of it is, if you ask for it many, many times, I have pondered on this from very, very young age. And is that, where does the information come from? Where does the knowledge come from? Is it a natural process of 2 + 2 is 4? Or do we have a 2, which is our thought, and then the other 2 comes from emotion or knowledge of the universe, or we are connected to information, Or do we create that information that makes a second two, that makes four? We say need is the mother of invention. But what is the mother of information? How does our brain connect that leads to that information, that new thought, that new understanding? Man has not unraveled this yet. Because we do it, is just we put it as intellectual rights or my thinking. But it's bunch of brain cells, bunch of magnetic fields, we call it brain cells, stuck together. How do they connect to each other to come to certain conclusions, to some set of information? How come that information knows no languages, no barriers, and then when it comes to us, it becomes our language? And we see it, we feel it. In that level of understanding, we call it our information. If you speak two languages, sometimes this comes to you. How does my brain automatically changes from one language to another? I dream in one language, I speak in another language, and I develop a technology in one language or the other. How does our brain processes the knowledge? If I would have studied one language, would I have received this information? And where does that information come from? In a truth, in a way, what is intellect? That's what the information becomes. What is the intellect? How does our brain cells connect that it creates that intellect? You, on a calculator, you put 2 and 2 makes 4. In the computer, you put some data and it gives you some answer. But we haven't built that computer which was like the brain of the man, and we can see how it works out, that intellect, that information. How does it create that information? And is that information sits in a universal pool of knowledge, and to certain strengths we have access to it without knowing? Or is our knowledge added to the pool of the universal knowledge? Not everything comes there. It's not a milking machine. It's a two-way traffic. How much knowledge of us making motors and the wheels has been put into the universal knowledge, that somebody in another part of the universe wants to think how I can go faster, but continuous, goes to the universal knowledge, taps in, the soul knows, this is the knowledge came from earth, takes it back, the guy gets enlightened and invents the wheel. This is what we haven't understood. And I've pondered on this a lot, and we talk about, this is one of the reasons I oppose the patterning. Intellectual right, is it all ours? How does our soul, how does our brain get so much information? Do we create it through interaction of the ganses? And how do these ganses find out? And two, because we work through ganses in our brain, which we never understood, now we understand, do we get like magnetic field connection to universal bank of technology and knowledge? Information. Which then it becomes part of us. We analyze it, compare it to what we understand on this planet, we make it Earth-like version of it. And then if somebody else has not reached that strength of the connection, we become geniuses. This is why I keep on telling you, we are universal teachers. We have access to that library. We don't need much to do because we have the key. In the structure of the brain of me, there is a part which has what we call field level strength, which is connected, is as a strength of universal knowledge in that library. It's not a building, it's a collection of fields. You talk about agriculture, I tell you. You talk about the soul, I tell you. You talk about energy, I tell you. But leave it to you, for you to convert it into the physical human dimension. It's the information which, through the strength of the field of the soul, I have access to. And my teaching is like the curriculum you get in the school. If you follow 10 years of teaching, year 1 you teach this, year 2 you teach this, year 3 you teach this, and these are the informations that when you get to year 4, you refer back to year 1. In that class, I told you about it. My years changes to teaching 550, 220, and the rest. We are not recorders. We are the ones who got access, who can explain it. Because man has not learned how to do it. I said this to someone some times ago. You know, most of the mullahs and most of the Christian priests and even a lot of rabbis don't have any education. They put a Quran or a Bible in front of them, pretend to be reading it. That's how it was till about 50, 100 years ago. There wasn't a book to read. They took you to someone who could read Quran in Iran, for example. And that was your schooling. No maths, no physics was taught. Maybe a few calculations, as much as the guy could. Even that guy was not able to read, because when you start reading, you understand the guy told you the wrong thing. Us, we have the capability, the knowledge connection to bring the knowledge from the universal knowledge. And this is why we promote transmutation, because you can get access to the same enlightenment. You say, I went to the place, I saw this, I became a dog, I became a donkey, I was a mermaid, I saw such a thing in such a place, that I went to another planet and whatever. Isn't it because of the freedom of the, what we call fields of the soul, you are getting access to that universal information? But you can't describe it in any other way. You cannot explain it in any other way. So you make it as a story, I went there and there, because this is the capacity your brain can understand, or people around you can comprehend it because it fits into their understanding. And then, how much when you understood to read, you can read correctly, because the guy showed you S and he said it's G, because he never knew what's the S and G difference, because he was learned by. This is very typical. I'll explain to you for you to understand. In Arabic words, in Arab world, in the Islamic world, we call them Hafiz. And these Hafiz people, Hafiz means memory, you can remember. They can read you, is an art. Every word, every sound, every sentence, every full stop in Quran, from beginning to the end. one of the most famous poets of Iran is Hafiz. When you come to Iran, to Isfahan, travel a few hundred kilometers, a few, God knows, a couple of hours, you go to Shiraz, that's his birthplace. And most of these Hafiz people never could read. They learned it by somebody who read it. And if that guy could not read and he learned it by mistake, in their things, they remember the wrong thing. They can sit in front of you and read Quran back to front, no book in front of them. But how much of it do they understand word by word? And which part of it they connected to another one to analyze? Because the teacher was ignorant, the teacher never learned and he never could read. He heard something and he, carried on, so he learned and he knows this by heart, so he taught it, is as and O's and everything else. It's very funny the way they do it, but they don't understand the knowledge. They remember the book. If you watch the new Iranian president, he's amazing. He's a doctor, and in some of his speeches, he goes back into the verses of Quran, exactly what it says, but he says it in the Farsi language, in a Persian or Turkish accent, and what do you call it, talking. And you listen to the same thing, what he says in the way Arab says, it's totally different, sound different, but what did he understand from it? Because he quotes that quite a lot in his speeches. How was the teacher? Where did he get access? What? How can he connect it? This is the beauty with the information. How do you connect it and what is the outcome? In olden days, nowadays we send children to private school and we send them to school, they have to learn or whatever. In olden days, they used, the only knowledge a child needed was to be able to read Quran in Iran. And the wealthy people could send their children to one of these mullahs who himself could not read, but he was told this is the Quran, and he remembered what picture is where. The rest of it he couldn't understand. Most of the mullahs of the old time had a very good photographic memory. And they turned it the way they wanted it, because they never understood it. So children were sent kilometers to sit with a guy, a mullah, to just learn Quran. That was all the education you needed. But what that information they got, correct or half-cooked or incorrect, would bring them to use the emotion of the universal knowledge. Intellect and development is not the making of the 21st century and only in Europe. It's been across the universe. We call this world for thousands of years. So how do we get access to that information? But how do we make it? And once we understood something new, we made a new cake out of the flour and something else, that cake does not belong to us anymore. It becomes the cake of the universe. It becomes the knowledge for the universe, because you think it's mine, I don't talk. But in fact, the minute you talk, the minute you understand, you have created a magnetic field and the fields are connected to everywhere. Once you understand this, you understand patent has no meaning. Intellectual right has no meaning. But this is the way man has created in the past few 100 years. Where does the information come? And what does the information do to me? If you understood how to make a cake, and you added something to it and brought a new texture, taste, flavor, or whatever, this emotion of joy which you get from this is registered, it's become part of your soul, part of the joy of your soul, pleasure, whatever. Now it becomes part of the universal information. Someone else in another position in this universe or another universe sees a flower, in the emotion of wanting to do something with it, most probably has made something, not by rice, it could be a stone which becomes a flower. And in the emotion of wanting to do something, wishing it, gets access to what you made, and then makes the cake in their flavor, in their condition. It's not that I made you to make children that they might love me. I made you to create knowledge and information that brings peace to the others who are created. It's not the limitation of me loving, it's the limitation of understanding, it's the information, it's the knowledge, which what you gather, what you create, becomes the knowledge of the whole universe. That your knowledge becomes mine because I am you. A man needs time to understand this. This is why we understand it and we oppose patterning. But we use a pattern to reach as many as. You created the tool of stealing from each other. We use that tool to teach you not to steal. I battled with Dirk Lorenzen. I don't want to do pattern. He said, otherwise you can't protect it. After a couple of, sometimes, he came to me, Mehran, you're a fool. He's giving you access to give your knowledge to everyone. How long would it take you to get this out? Now you put in pattern in the whole world. So let's do the pattern as fast as we can. And what will you do with it? We open it. Because that knowledge in that pattern does not belong to humanity anymore. It belongs to the universal bank of knowledge. It's information. How? Through your soul access it, or through the interaction of field of your condition, your knowledge, you create a new information which becomes part of it. It's not just that we are connected and your soul goes somewhere else. You are connected, your information goes to somewhere else too. It's not exclusivity of the physicality. It's, I call it in a very funny way, European way of living. European way of living is very simple. It used to be one father and one mother. The father worked until they bring the child up, and then that child, whatever. Now in Europe, you make a child. The whole nation brings the child up. They bring child protection, they bring child payment, that the child is paid and fed. They bring educating the child, everything else. You just give life to it, and the whole nation and the whole continent grows it. That child is a property of the whole nation, it's a whole continent. It's not anymore German. Because Germany is in trouble, Central European Bank gives money to government Germany or to grants or whatever collected from the Spanish, French or whatever, for the German child to be educated. Now the parenthood, we just hold the key to a house. That child in that house belongs to the whole of the continent. It's become collective parenthood, but we cover it under a different name. That knowledge of that child collectively belongs to, what do you call it, Germany. But EU uses it. And so it's the same in a bigger structure. We are children of the Creator, and our knowledge belongs to the whole of the universe, to totality, not exclusivity, because now there is no physical body to restrain it. Social childhood, I call it, is something that we have structured in Europe. We pay parents to look after the children. Monthly payment. We make free education. Wasn't this the job of the parents to make money to feed the children, to educate them and the rest? Now we do it collectively. And we share that with all. Germans do it, British have to do the same, and what you call it, Austrians have to do the same, and the rest. And the knowledge then shared, that everybody uses what they need according to their culture. But in essence, the same. It's the same with the universe. Once you understand that knowledge, it's not yours anymore. It collectively belongs in the central information. And how you open it, how you reach it, that you share it, gives you access to it. The more you give, the more you receive. The more your higher level becomes, the more access you have to the higher level information. So did the information come to create something from it, or part of the information you created becomes part of the central information? You're used to locking and calling library. You never understood, you don't want to understand through the soul, through the interaction of the field of the, what makes your soul, you're connected to that library. It's just you who denied yourself to it by killing, by creating conditions that the emotion of the universe does not accept, jealousy, and the rest of it. We like everything to be virgin, and we are the first, and we are, it's us where we don't understand. Never been us first. It's always been all of us. Never been me. And once we understand this, it will be so easy to bring up the children of the Mitra, because they have access to that universal library, the way I do. They have access to all the universal energy. They don't need to kill. You and I talk, I want to go to London to see London. The children of Mitra speak about they've been to the moon, they go to Mars, they go to another planet, they've been in the sky, and the rest of it. If you don't understand it, say this is crazy. But if you understand it, you created it to do that, to become a citizen of the universe. And then what they bring you is information, and what they put together is their information become part of, without condition, without the prejudice of race, religion, and the rest of it, that they are the world citizens. They are universal citizens from birth. When they're on this planet, they behave like those, that they cannot be separated and stigmatized. When they're on the Mars, they are lived like them. This is the beauty of the children of Mitra. Creation of the soul. So, is the information, or is enlightenment, is you connected to, you have elevated to the point that you can connect to part of it. But if you let your soul free, detachment, part of that detachment gives you access to universal knowledge. It's not exclusive of Mehran Keshe. We are teachers. We don't bring any messages. Those who are messengers are the thieves, because they didn't bring the whole message. When they were given access, they stole what suits them. Now you understand. Is the information, is it yours? Or through the action of the fields, you create a new dimension. In a very near future, I was talking about this very recently, in a very near future, you knowledge seekers, those who understand the science, will make computers out of GANs. And once man be able to produce a computing system, a living entity condition system out of GANs, then you understand, if you put all the computers of today, all the servers of today together on this planet, will fit into 1 micromillimeter. When I brought the gases out, I didn't bring it for you to have a thing rubbing here. The future of the humanity, the future of the knowledge of the universe is understanding the basic cornerstone of the creation in the energy, in the plasma, in magnetic field connection. Your body on this planet needs calcium to structure itself to become brain. When you make gases, you're connected to universal energy. That plasma carries connected, same as your soul, to all the information in the universe. You have not understood, and in time when you understand, you'll find out I gave you the gift of the creation from the Creator, but you're still there. All the nations on this planet can rise against Keshe Foundation and me. They never succeed because it's not mine, it's the knowledge of the creation. And the souls who put it right, the souls who protect it because it's theirs. But you don't understand. He gave us a maghreb, blah, blah. You never understood what a maghreb is for. You have not even come to contemplate, to understand 1/10000000th of what the gases are for. Then is an information. Can you, through structure of gases, because your brain cannot do, access universal knowledge? Yes, you can. And then would that become the knowledge of everyone? Do you pattern it? What is the pattern? Patent is the knowledge. On the land we brought borders, in intellect we made patent. Corner it, condition it, make weapons to protect it, and anybody else wants to take it is mine. I call this colonization to intellect. And those who benefit by it, they protect it. Those who understand the abuse of it, they fight against it. Because you don't need to fight. The knowledge is free. You can do it. It's you how to access it. It's information which you create becomes public to the universe, and you, in one way or another, have received through it. You abuse it, you lose it. So, which one came, the egg or the chicken? Is this your information, or is already information central bank of the universe because of the plasma and understanding magnetic fields which create our plasma connected to every cell in the universe? You have access to it and you claim it to be yours. But even though some you put in and the others use. Any other question?
We have a couple of hands up here.
Let me tell you something, buddy. Let me tell you something about this topic. As some of you know, and when you come to Iran, you might know a bit more. My great grandfather and grandfather were very people who wanted to educate their people, their children. And I say, my grandfather, he used to send my oldest uncle, it's about 100 years ago, he would have been over 100 years old now. He used to send to a mullah to read Quran. And every day, there's no sunshine or whatever, except Fridays. They used to put him on the back of a donkey with 2 men outriders walking this donkey all the way to Natanz, where the Iranian nuclear reactors are now. And they used to bring him back. Every day he had to make this trip to go and learn. When I was a child, I was told that he's educated, he can read. And I was a very clever little boy. I sat on my uncle's lap and I said, "Can you read this for me?" He said, "I can't read." But I said, "They said you've been going to from childhood, God knows, till 18, 20, learning from the mullah, reading. We just been told, we remember the voice." He couldn't read. And this is how knowledge has been abused, especially in the name of religion. People who do not even understand themselves, trying to educate people who believe they understand. And nowadays, they send mullahs and priests to universities to educate. But the people who taught these people were never educated. And this is the same. We need to teach the man to be educated, to educate himself. Not somebody to tell him that he believes. But this time we educate the soul to get access to universal knowledge, to essence of the creation, which is the creator. And we are just teachers. We bring the message for you to understand that it's you who have to do the teaching, not anybody else. And you can only teach to yourself the correct way, as everyone takes according to their own understanding and their own. It's us who have to understand us, not us trying to force what we understand wrong to the others. And that gives you access to universal knowledge and information. Carry on.
Yes, we have a hand up here, two hands up with Dimitri and Marinus. Dimitri, would you like to go first, please?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Fantastic. Thank you, Rick. Mr. Keshe, I have a question for you. A lot of spaceships in this universe, possibly the Unicos, have a dynamic triple layer protection, shell, protecting the souls, encapsulating the souls that are in that spaceship, protecting them. How does the soul of existence, the soul of creation, and the soul of totality relate to the dynamic triple layer spaceship encapsulating the totality of souls within the Unicos? Thank you.
This is what our scientists today are tackling and trying to understand. What we're trying to show in Iran is to bring a suitcase, open a suitcase, and create a structure. But when you look at the structure, it's created from three different dynamics. The interaction of the three dynamics gives the manifestation of physicality. Sometimes people feel the energy of the dynamic of the skin, of the touch. And sometimes they need to understand what is touching them. And if we look for a dimension of physicality, because it's created by the interaction, by combination of different fields, they have to accommodate. So it has to have a soul to accommodate. And once you create the soul, and once you create the condition of the physicality which created that soul, you give it the physicality. We have built this machine. This machine, in a physical sense, to create its own physical dimension, today exists. It's not something we're going to do tomorrow. Our scientists have to understand their relationship with what is needed to bring the fields together, what once they came together, what energy they bring to create that soul, and then what's that soul created using the same material, the same energy to create the physicality of manifestation. In a way, today in the laboratories of Keshe Foundation, we are creating a soul of a machine, a soul of a system, which has all emotions. And it's like child, it'll give birth to its own structure. But through knowing how we can position it, we are dictating the shape of the structure. We control it, so it'll be the shape of a man. We control it, it'll be the shape of the UFO. We can control it with spherical, triangular, all shapes. And because we create the three dynamic layers, that three dynamic layers allows the interface with outside, accommodating the inside and outside, and the inside. This is why we have the three layers. I've explained this many times before. The skin we have outside is to separate us from what's outside. The middle layer is to mediate between the inner and outer, what we call the no man's zone. That's why the diseases come here. That's why all your skin problem appears in this middle layer, because it has to accommodate what is inside us. Inside layer is controlling your emotion and your physicality and your soul. So if it doesn't fit with outside, you get blisters on your elbow and this and crooked eyes and the rest of it. Is interactive. And if you can make what we call cirrhosis on your elbow or whatever, which creates some new layers, this is exactly how we make the shape of the system. It has emotion, it has existence, but you have to get the mixture right. You have to get the field interaction right, that their interaction from the top will give it physicality. It's not there, click of a minute. When it comes right, it manifests itself. When I saw this structure the first time, two emotion comes in you. One is fear, and one is exhilaration of, I understood the creation. And that point needs what I call humbleness, to understand this is a gift when it's done by. And then with it, through your emotion, you construct the structure. In the body of man, we create a child. With the children of the soul, we create another dimension of life. In the structures which we create, I hope you see it in Isfahan, we create the soul of the creation. It's you who, through understanding, can come in, become that organ of the kidney, liver, whatever you call it. Because then you'll be fed by the system. You don't need to kill. There is no breakfast rooms. There is no canteen to go and eat. I know what is to come and what it needs to be done in Isfahan. And I have started preparing my physicality for that point. Because you have to be able to transmute with it. We have put no doors on it. We don't come with a truck with the doors, handles, steps or whatever. I wonder if Iran Ayatollahs can walk in. I wonder if the world presidents, wherever we open this, can come in. This is the understanding of interaction of the fields. And understanding the soul of the creation. We are at the moment like that individual cells creating, dividing, moving to create that central soul, that by creation of that central soul, plus that what we have brought in to create it, we give it the manifestation of it. This machine today exists. We have built it. And is to understand how to feed. You cannot put too much salt in the middle layer, you get cirrhosis. You put too much less, it gets infection. It makes a hole in it. So everything needs to be correct. They need salt to give it solidification. And our scientists have not understood and not grasped the concept of the salt. Once they do, the creation is complete. And you will see it in this one. Any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
You're
Okay, Mehran, would you like to go next, please?
Yes, thank you, Rick. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Hello, everybody. You hear me well? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, thank you for enlightening us to see who we really are, because we all need to know who we really are to take away a lot of confusions. I have two questions. One is, I had noticed that in some ages, in some progress of history of man, when there is an invention, a discovery, or progress in some place, there is similar in another place. It might be that they copy each other, but
we have lost you. Mehran, we lost you. Can you start again?
Yes. I had noticed that how come sometimes there's invention or discovery in one part of the world and we see the same thing in another part of the world? It might be that they copy each other, but is it maybe because of these, they call it Akashic level, which you talk about, maybe the knowledge level dimension, which opens up and it falls on people, different places on earth? Like in the 60s, we see a progress towards individual liberty and creativity in arts, in humanity. Yes. And then it got stopped. Or in some other invention, we see something in Italy, we see something around that time in Iran. That kind of invention, is it possible that it exists? Same thing? Or it's just bad?
Quite possible. No, it's quite possible. The best example of it is nylon. The material we use, nylon, is the best example of it. I think it was patented within hours from each other in London and New York, and there was a dispute who's going to get the patent. So patent was given to both, N coming from New York, L coming from London. We call it nylon. And so it's quite possible people coming up with the same information according to progress without even knowing about each other. It's a progressive sharing of the knowledge in a different level. We might do it slightly different than they do it, but more or less, it's, in principle, it's the same. There is a very interesting point how people know and how people keep. And all do the same, but not knowing it. But all sharing the same, what we call understanding. So it's possible we mature at the same time, all connection of the souls, or coincidence in the reaching the knowledge at the same time. Nowadays, it's not impossible because the communication is so open that nothing is impossibility. Nothing is impossibility. And it depends how we control the knowledge. And how we dictate with that knowledge what we want to control. You see, the good example of this control of the knowledge, and then we see if people actually think at the same time, is the new dictatorship in communication and internet. And it's showing its hand very, very clearly. Up to now, we had the Fox, controls all the news and everything else. This guy, Musk, bought Twitter and got access to what now changed it to X. And he has become more or less claiming to be a free channel, worse than the Fox, and using it to control what he wants. But you have to understand, Musk knows about the work and the knowledge which is happening around the world. His X machine has maybe a year maximum to go, 2 years, if that, maybe sooner. Once we show the things in Iran, his wealth is worth zero. The Tesla cars and what he sells as a cars will come to nothing. This wealth will go to the ground very quick. So he is aware of this. And he's taken dimension to control knowledge and public. But how much can they control? But would their control lead to the others to understand the same thing at the same time? Certain groups will be knowledgeable because they only have the people who can put out. What he claimed he's bringing freedom is actually bringing more restriction, what he likes to be in public. How many new Twitter accounts have been closed, or all Twitter accounts are not allowed to open or run because it doesn't go by him. It's worse. And we need open line communication beyond dimension of man that nobody can control. And then you will see at the same time, the same invention will appear in 10 different places, 100 different places. We have set the root of this through cosmic communication line. Gradually you will understand. You think, and the others who are connected through the same system will understand you. You don't need to talk, you don't need to make a call. Those who understand that, feel the strength of the knowledge, or have access to it, or they have built it to be, will come up with the same knowledge as you at the same time. In 100 places tomorrow morning, all make the same cup. Who copied who? Soul share. In what we call cosmic ray connection to each other connects. When we put this unit out as cosmic ray, oh, you thought, it's just, I want to call my brother. No, we have opened you to the what we call universal information bank. If you're clever, you understand how to use it, you lock into it, you jump into it. And then you don't put it on, oh, I had a dream. No, this is knowledge I received. What can I do with this knowledge I received? Why has it come to me? What have I reached in the level of understanding that this knowledge is open to me? And what can I do to put something back into it? I told you, I give you pieces that you don't understand, but those of you who understand or come to understand, I have given you one of the biggest gifts man has received, to be able to reach that universal information bank. Has no satellite, because there is no satellite in the universe. It's called cosmic. You connect it through the cosmos information. How you want to tap into it? The limitation is you. And then, how many of you at the same time reach a point, same day, same hour, next month, to the same universal information, because you elevated your field strength of understanding to that level? It's not exclusively just me. Listen to what I say. We are universal teachers. I'm not the only universal teacher. Because as we educate the others to become. So it's possible. 100 people at the same time, now especially with this condition of understanding the cosmic ray, how it connects to your soul, not to your body, and the soul and your system is connected to universal cosmic rays, how much new knowledge and, in bracket, technologies you will come up with. What do you want to patent? The universal, and then you go to another part of the, oh, I have a patent of this on earth, so technology is mine. You make yourself a laughing stock. When you come to universal knowledge, pardon?
No, excuse me. Sorry.
When you come to universal knowledge information, there's no exclusivity. Whoever claims it is a fool. And there are many fools on this planet. Because they can't fool outside, they just fool themselves. You will see, if you put your finger on everything which Musk has done, they have a lifespan of maximum 2 years, 3 years. No one will buy electric cars. No one will connect to electric cars. Because once you understand the first structure of how you can build the structure according to the wish of your soul, would you buy something somebody's given it to you and can kill you with it? Or you build a structure which protects you according to your emotion. Your vehicle becomes your another part of layer of your skin in a way. But this time you allow everything inside it, you create a barrier. My child can come in, my friend can come in, I can put the shopping in here. You'll understand very soon how, when I look at mosque, it makes me laugh. Usually say the guy's got 20, 30 year lifespan. Keshe Foundation, with the way we are going and the way you will see in the coming months and systems coming up, the guy doesn't stand a cat in hell chance to be 5 years. Would you pay $100,000 when you can make it with $50? A vehicle which loves you, protects you, you can't crash, you can't kill with it, you can't road rage with it. You understand? It's just now this the first of these series of systems is getting developed, is in production, and it's the next step to it. If you can communicate in different dimensions, then or you can go to the Mars and the Moon within minutes. Do you need SpaceX? There's a big X, actually, the name of it sits on it, X, it means it's finished, it's crossed. There's no end to it. They have a problem with people in the space lab. How they get to them? They want to be there. Give them a telephone line. We give them facilities in Linz. We can feed them that they be there 10 years till they decide to come. Or through developing transmutation, we don't need them. Just what do you need? You exit. You don't need somebody to bring them down. These are not theories. These machines are already in existence. They're getting tested. And yeah, what's your second question?
My second question. First of all, are you the hierarchy of these teachers?
Pardon?
Are you the higher in hierarchy of these teachers?
We are all the same.
Thank you. So another question is if rapidly you can open it up about the last week teaching. You said there are all other souls in us that can guide us, and we can refer to them. Can you explain very shortly how it is? Is it the
What?
soul of the cellulose or the soul of the organs, which have a soul? I mean,
Explain. I don't understand what you're asking.
you said it in the teaching of last week that we have all other souls in us which can guide us. Or maybe it was all other soul
No,
around.
you see, every part of us has a condition on the soul. Within us or outside us. I explained this before, but maybe we can go back on it. All the animals, most of the mammals or whatever, all the animals have a reproduction line, as I said many times before, opposite to their soul. And this reproduction part is always with them from the day of birth. And when the soul reaches a point of maturity inside, the two exit, the two create that separation. We call it the birth. It's the same thing when you have the soul and the soul of physicality, and then now your own physicality rejects the other part and it becomes a freedom of the soul to start a new life. You move the soul, you gave physical birth from the womb of the mother. Now that individuality not depending on the mother, you create that field that separates the energy, the soul of the man from the physicality of the man. You give a new birth. So if you look at it, we are a copy of our mother. We are a copy of our parents. They say, oh, it's genetically, DNA, this is for the liver, this is... But you are born in this. You are created in this tank, this machine, which has liver, kidney, lungs, and everything else, and dictates where the energies go. So your replication of your above, what carries you inside it. And because it's there, it replicates. Why do we call it inherited disease? Because it's the replication of what it is. If you put something else in it with a different field strength, and what is there which created it, now it has to make adjustments. You take a slight change, become the color of the eye of the guy who put some energy in it. Oh, your eyes look like your father. And he had something from his grandfather. Oh, your grandfather had this shape of lips and the rest of it. In fact, the replication is the mother. We just copy it down and then we give it the structure. That's how life is created in mammal. The same is with the eggs. Why do we need 2 eggs? Because we bring the other information. One information needs to adjust with the other one. It divides and creates more, brings more energy. And why all these lives have a skin, a shell? Because within this limit, we can create what is there. Then this is, so we carry mixture of souls with us. If your eye is the color of the eye of your grandmother, it's not just what happened, it's a connection, it's a soul. You're connected to the soul of the grandmother because it's there. You come and we are replicated. I was traveling, I was given a birthday gift to go to Paris. You live in France. When I was 18, my family's birthday gift for me was going a week in Paris. And I was with my sister and my mother. We were going to see the rest of the family and whatever. And on the bus there was a guy. He came and he stood in front of my sister and he said, "You are the daughter of this man." And my mom said, "Why? What are you asking?" He said, "He was my friend when I was a young boy and I know this face." And my mom said, "Yes. If you see the image of my sister and my dad, they're very much the same." So how did that come to be? And how we recognize it? Does that feature bring certain behavior of the soul? And are we amalgamation of the strength fields? We call it, we have something, or you know, you look like this and that. Are we carrying that soul behavior in that feature? And it's very typical. And I watched this and I'm studied this quite a lot because it has a lot of meaning for me. How the features bring certain characteristics, certain connections, and certain emotions. And how we carry the soul of that, who created that feature. Because if it wasn't the soul of it, connection to the soul of it, it wouldn't have been there. In the present day, they say, oh, it's genetic. Under the genes, amino acids which are connected and have a soul, why don't we talk about the reality? And we always stay with the matter state of it. Do we carry the soul of the grandfather who, for the first time, created the lepsicon to the father and to the daughter? Then, yes, we have the soul of everything within us because we are all connected, created out of each other.
Thank you so much, sir. Bless you.
It's very interesting, this. If you follow the presidential pattern of what's going on in the United States, it's amazing how a man who's blonde and he comes from a black root, because we all know where all we came from, is using the color of black and the Indian, which all come from the same, as the reason to be different. And it's interesting watching how the most ignorant people on this planet claim to be intellect. and want to run or decide on rest of the humanity. If it was not the ancestor of that black woman, you blonde gentleman would not exist. Unless you're shallow and you don't understand. There is no reason for race and religion separation, because those who do not understand the truth about themselves. Ignorance doesn't come in the shape of presidents, it comes in the shape of humanity. Any other question?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. We have some questions in YouTube. We have actually a number of questions from Seventh Star. I'll relay maybe a couple of them here. Has a question: can one feed himself by placing Gans patches with different ratios on the aorta? Or how is it better to use Gans water with minimum Ganses in comparison to water with a bigger amount of Gans?
Listen to the teaching of past 10 years where we speak about this. And first of all, you cannot use Ganses. That's forbidden. Because it's energy packs that your body somehow cannot absorb. And some people claim they took Ganses, they did this. You're taught not to start with, to do it anyway. So you've done it, it's your problem. When you don't listen, a naughty child always punishes himself. Secondly, we always spoke about gradient in the strength of the plasma. You got to understand, some of you can do what you say, put a Gans here and there and stand behind it or in between it. But something you don't understand or you haven't understood, you need to understand, is that some of the cells of your body is actually stronger than the patches you put on either side. You're actually feeding the patches, you're collecting what they don't need, which your body doesn't need, but it takes in because it's part of the cycle. When you talk about feeding yourself, you have to understand you are not always something in between. Depending on what and where, sometimes you're stronger, sometimes you're weaker. So are you actually feeding yourself or are you feeding the patches? This is very interesting. See how the patches changes after interacting. If the lines are stronger than weaker than before, then you are fed. So you say it doesn't work, I still eat. Yes, because you don't understand the patch you put there to feed you, you actually fed it. And this is the understanding when you don't. Nim Hakim Khatar Jan, Indians say. Half a doctor is danger to life because you don't know what the disease is, what you're doing with it. Understand yourself, then you can feed. It's not just because I put the zinc and copper and God knows what and it does. No, it doesn't. Because you have calcium in the center of every single cell. Without the calcium, the cell doesn't exist. So you're already stronger than your patch. I tried it, but it doesn't, because yes, you never understood. Can I feed myself by it? If you haven't understood, what do you want to feed yourself with? You know, there are some foods that you eat, you actually lose more energy to consume them than actually they give you anything. But they're just good for some purposes in the body. You eat celery, you lose, you gain, you actually consume more energy to digest the strands and everything else on it than it actually gives you. You eat grapes with the seed and the stone. You act, even it's so sweet, you think with calorie actually lose because you burn calorie. It's the same as your patch. Are you putting a celery outside? Or are you putting what do you call it, grapes on the other side? Understand what you're doing. Understand the system of your creation, not what you do blindly. I can make you a GANS mixture that feeds you for centuries. We are developing a system now. I was talking to one of knowledge seekers going through the trial that nowadays men or women, whatever, you go and buy a Viagra after a certain age, or some stupid young people do it and damage themselves physically because they don't need it. But what does it do? Where does the essence of non-productivity come from? Why can't you understand it and sort the whole reproduction and the emotion and the soul with it? If you're taking us on a physical dimension, so it's easy. But then you are always in trouble for the next one. But why don't you sort the emotion of the soul? And then you don't need, because you sort out the body, you don't need the emotion. You don't need the what they call physical tablets. We work too much on physicality. We don't understand it. Very soon we'll launch this as a clinical trial, as a material which changes you to be, what do you call it, with emotion, with a sense of creation and created. As I said, we launched the twin system last time, last couple of weeks ago. In September, October, you start receiving your materials. The next product is what it touches emotion. We knew this, I explained this in teaching years ago when we did the trials or started the processes in Belgium. Women in the 70s, 80s, they start menstruation. And I always told them, be careful, grandmas don't become mamas and babas. A man and a woman can be fully productive to the day they die. And now we are putting it into trials, and it comes out, you will see it. If you look at it just from sexuality, you will get nowhere. If you understand it's there for your soul to be, what I call happy, not happy, but in order with its existence, then you see the other side of it. This is part of the structure for the demise, for the death. If you can correct it, you never die. This hormone change, you call it, is a big problem. Why should a woman at the age of 35 suddenly, we call it menopause, become changes that, because why? 10,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, there was nobody to look after the children. So at this age, I stopped because if I give life to a child at the age of 40, there is nobody to feed it. Now we have, as I said, social structure. I can give birth to the age of 90 and still love the child, live in the dimension of soul, or I know the society will look after it. I'll have the better life than I could give it. Why should we take that joy of pleasure of sharing love equal without from a man or a woman? Very soon we'll launch this out. Women, men, live a full life in intimacy, in emotion, and then we see how many problems get solved. How much hospitals will be empty, how much Parkinson will not exist in a man anymore. How much women will change in the dimension of the creating a homogeneous home, and not change of hormone. All these changes come because of us. We do not have the security to feed our next generation. So women, by instinct, brought this to them that I better don't have any more children, that they don't have a father, and I cannot do, I have to do things. I can't go gather on hunting. The menopause created by women's security themselves in their emotion. The same comes, you put a woman at age, this is a very interesting point, I've spoke about it before. Why do we get men at age of 45, 50 with Parkinson? If any of you have been with me with condition of Parkinson, I'll ask you one question. When did your wife go into menopause? Oh, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Do you know why, what has done to you? Her menopause is 90% of cause of your Parkinson. Nobody connects it, but that's what the reality is. So if we sort out the structure of the menopause, security of the women, understand that the child they bring at even 60, 70 is still secure, is still life 100, 150 years. Why should you deny your life, pleasure of sharing with a man you love or a woman you love? Changes. They go into menopause. Man goes into Parkinson. Why doctors don't want to see it? The guy wants to stay home, so he plays at home. To keep the wife happy, to be correct with the conduct with the partner. We move the hormone condition, whatever they call it, emotion of the soul. Woman lives a normal life. Why should they suffer? The man lives a normal life. Why a family? You sort out a huge problem. Why do men die after 65, 70 and the insurance company bet on it? The retirement should not be there. Man should be productive, work till the day he can. Man works all his life and he comes home at the age of 65. From today, you're not worth it. So what do? I just plan to die because I cannot do. If you can keep active, if you can keep a correct life, you can live 80s, 90s. We see American presidents, we see world presidents in 70s, 80s that are still working and they're like rabbits having so many mistresses next to them. One wife and 20 mistresses. Because if you see, they never accepted 65 retirement. Look at all the top richest men in the world. Except one, which is exception. The rest are all in 70s and 80s. They still, you see, it's not that you stop. They made us to stop. But what happened? You stay home, you've been going to work every day, 9 to 5. You saw a purpose in life. Now they lock you up from age of 6. The day comes, it's like 18, you get the key. The day comes 65, they take the key away from you. What do? You depress, you become sick, you die. And insurance companies bet on you, on your pension policy. And when you start becoming active, now blah, 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 insurance companies and governments are in problem because you're not supposed to live more than 5 to 7 years after you were retired. Now you're living 20 years, we use your money, we can't pay you. You have a social structure problem. Once you sort something out correct, everything else falls in pattern. 85%, 90% of the illnesses, what we call old age illnesses, through whatever physical dimension, should not be there. We should be able to be active. We are running a trial. You will hear about it soon when it comes out with one of the large companies in the world. That you see at the age of 65, 70, 80, people become bent. They cannot move. We have produced a system, structure, going through trial. Within a week, 2 weeks, you go gradually back to be able to stand up, to be able to sit down, to walk. That you couldn't sit, you have pain in every part. Shouldn't be there. We have shown it. So when you're healthy, now they were calculating you die at 80, now you're 90, 95, 100, you're still mountain climbing. So this forces government to bring changes in the social structure, financial structure. Do we get paid by work, or do we all look after each other like a social protection? And the money has no value because we have more old people. Japan is going to hit this very hard. They're facing with it. China is the same. Europe is the same. We got more people over age of 65 who are not productive. And what happens? We have to find money for them. They are home, they're sick. They get sick because they have nothing to do. If you want to be active, you go out, you need to go to be socialized. It needs money, it needs financial, it needs health. So when you are stuck, you become burden on the society with a health problem. When I can get you moving and you go, there you hear about this very soon. These are going through clinical trials. We have jumped a barrier in a very big way, and we need that time to go through. This is why I came to you, all of you. We ask for financial support. Donate to us as much as you can, because it's for your next generation. It's what is there and what is coming up. We need to support these things. I can show you videos. If you can block faces, you see a woman in 82, 83, 90% bent, cannot even bend more than a little bit, to sit back. In 3 weeks, she's a runner. She stands up upright, 90 degrees, 100 degrees. Walks, sit down, all the way down. Before, when we meet, they need to hold her hand if she can walk. Now she sits up and down, everything else without anything. Health, wellness is a God-given right to every living thing, to the point when the soul separates. Should not be connected to the wealth, to what you can do and the rest. And it has to be provided by the governments, by us collectively as a one nation. You will see, you have to bit by bit do everything. And now we have connected to the structures who can do that for us. Any other
We should ask Gerhard's question here, which is what can we expect in tomorrow's Friday meeting, and how is it linked to today's Knowledge Seekers workshop?
Tomorrow's meeting will serve you chips, and we'll serve you chicken. What else would you like? Oh, you're German, you most probably like sausage or Frankfurter. And we'll bring you a glass of wine if you like that way. You're coming for travel yourself. What to expect? You make it yourself. We are not planning it for you. You're the cook, you're the chef, you're the eater, you're the servant. You cook it with your soul, you serve it, and you enjoy it in dimension of physicality and the soul. And secondly, I'll never give you preset what might happen or expectation. You have the headphones, cosmic ray headphones, bring it. You still need 2 phones, bring it. You have the glasses, which we supplied years ago, bring it. And some people wrote to me, we want the glasses, but you're not selling it anymore. You don't have the time to manufacture them. And then they say, Keshe Foundation sell things we can't. They are time consuming. It's a lot of labor work with it. But I received a call, Mr. Keshe, we want to buy. We were thinking with the cosmic rays people bought within a half, we might open a channel for maybe 50, 100 of these next week or this week, because people need it with the cosmic communication unit. We start doing it. Maybe we open it, or because we received a few people writing to us, how can we join these sessions and enjoy it, but we don't have the cosmic ray, what they call it, the glasses. We open it very limited, maybe 50, 100, it takes us about 6 months, 5, 6 months to produce. Take it, and then when you take the cosmic bundles with it, transmutation becomes very, very much easier. And you learn how to transmute. The only problem with transmutation, you have to learn when to let go when your physicality wants to move. Don't worry about the glass, don't worry about what I'm holding in my hand and whatever. So tomorrow, still, if you don't have the cosmic bundles, still, I think we delivered, we have supplied most of it, whatever should have been done as far as I know before holidays. And we allow the glasses to come into operation for a very few numbers because it takes time till one day they go into a massive mass production. These glasses are part of the transmutation startup, and now we've got developed further. We'll be much, much more advanced than new sets. And be connected to the headphone and to the transmission units. And don't expect much. Come in and see what you like to enjoy with. But we bring a lot of things. I know a few of you have the glasses and a few have the cosmic ray bundles. We open this maybe tonight, tomorrow if you want to order, but don't expect for in a couple of months. But still we go into production with it, and because it has to be met together. And let's see.
Mark had a question in the chat here. Can we use UBESU headphones without the base unit in the session, or only the cosmic ray units headphones?
Those of you who have the UBESU units, use the headphone and the base unit. We try to bring all of them into process. We'll be interested. It's too much job to be done for this time, maybe for next time. We bring all your other end of the system obesos you have to be together, and we'll be very interested to see how you people of each group communicate with each other when your system is together. We cannot do it because it's holiday time, it's impossibilities to be done. But next session, most probably, when you come in with your cosmic rays and the glasses and the UBESO units, we bring your other end into, because once you are not in it, don't try to use the cosmic rays because it doesn't go in the system. They go in a box and they're kept outside. Then we bring you together and see how you communicate, how you feel each other's emotion if you have cosmic rays and what do you call it, UBESO units with each other. It'll be very interesting. It's part of what we come and what it is, and we try to go with the production of these glasses. There is a possibility that we open Germany with very few numbers, maybe a couple of hundred people, to be able, the way you came to Austria, to go to flight unit in Germany. The facilities are there, we can use it. And we might open it this week. If you want to go through a transmutation unit, Prelude 2, we might support you with transmutation there as well. And Dr. Kern and the team in there in Germany will support you. You can test it, and then maybe we can go with other parts with it. Next 24 hours, we'll make an announcement about this. But for sure, we'll open there, because I've seen a lot of number of people ask me for, can we have the glasses, because we have the bundles, or we want to buy it, but without that we don't want it. We open the cosmic rays and the what do you call it, the eyeglasses together, and we might open, we'll let you know maybe by next week, you can book to go through transmutation units in Germany. And the way you came to what do you call it, to Austria, you go to Germany, many Germans would like to go, and then you can test it. It'll be allocated, it won't be all in one day, but a lot of German people like to do the transmutation. Just look out, maybe this week we announce, we open the channels for it and we promote it. You can book for it and go ahead. There is another session of the Knowledge Seekers workshops organized by the Austrian group, which is sometime in September, I think, we will, they asked us to announce it as part of what we call Keshe Foundation work. Let me just check something, I'll tell you exactly the date. What's the name of the guy? Okay. The session will be held, it's a workshop for a weekend, 20 and 21st of September 2024 in Linz. And it's a 2-day workshop with Herbert and Mario in the same place as it was last time. You can join they have a workshop set up, and is what do you call it, is extensive workshop in different aspects of it. You have to understand these workshops does not carry the banner of the Keshe Foundation. We don't endorse it because they can teach or say something and say it was sold in one of these workshops. Is what do you call a process that you can do and use if you like to do it, and it'll be very interesting to see. They had an interesting workshop last time, and it's not a workshop. If any of your knowledge seekers who work with part of the Keshe Foundation, the store system, and you do workshops, we try to promote you for your sessions. As long as it's within the frame of the Keshe Foundation, don't use our name to do other things, then we block it. We don't support and we stop everything. And very soon, I think this month or next month, they'll open a second or third retail shop in Switzerland. It'll be open up, and then you can go actually to the stores, these places, to buy or book for different things for the Keshe Foundation. But the German community, if you wanted to go for transmutation sessions, as was with the Keshe Foundation, this time there's not so much pressure. We spread it to go to Germany. We do a very few limited, because there's been a lot of people who like to do it. The Italians like to go to transmutation again. This we open up, you can register for it and go to it more or less next couple of weeks. Anything else?
I was wondering if, excuse me, I was wondering if the book sales were happening through the KF store. Can people order like physical books, not the e-books, but the
yes,
physicality books there? Okay.
Yeah, physical books. Yeah, I think they were printed in Romania, and there. I hope the Italian post doesn't steal it, like the what do you call it? Austrian post doesn't steal it like the Belgian post did our books. So yes,
maybe that's what's made them so rare. We were looking, excuse me, on Amazon yesterday in the plasma group at your 3 books, and one of them was selling. It had the ebook for $30 or something, and then they had used books were the only ones available on Amazon besides the ebook, and one of them was $5,802 or something like that, over almost $6,000 they wanted for, I think it was book 2 on that one, and one of the other ones was $130.
Some of these books have signed. We don't do much signed books. The original books were signed and registered, and some people actually sell those signed books. We know that because they've done that. And somebody in Holland found it in a second-hand shop for very few dollars. But when you open them, if you get these, they have a special signature, and you can ask us and we can tell you the, what do you call it, the authenticity of it.
The
They
production
have a
number and so on. They
Yeah,
have a
no,
number.
it's, yeah, they are hand signed by me, and they have a registration number on it, and you can easily identify it. I put this, what do you call it, this teaching on the screen, if you can see it, from in September in Austria. And you, what do you call it? We still sell the books. You don't need to pay 5,000 or 6,000, but will not be signed. I signed some books a few months ago, and that'll be the last of the signed books for the time being, as far as I can tell you. I know, I think, is it Polish or another group are printing books to publish? They received authorization from Keshe Foundation to print a few thousand books, all ISBN number from the Keshe Foundation. Is it Bulgaria or Poland? One of the two. We authorized the book to be published by the Keshe Foundation supporters in that country. And I think China is going through the same process of publishing books in Chinese. You don't need to buy. And then some of these books will be done, and then we'll see what the next step with it will be. It's not bad if there's 6,000. It was $29.99 20 years ago, or 10 years ago when we published it. It's a good inflation if you can get it.
Yes, I remember that. In fact, I have a picture of it here. Let me share. I have to place the current share
Belgian
here.
posts have got hundreds of them.
You remember signing this book to me? You made an actual error, probably the only mistake in your life, and you had to cross it out, and you put in, "Not everything in life is perfect," in Cash.
You see,
and I remember that's the first communication from you I think I got was this: "Not everything in life is perfect," and that was just perfect in itself.
Yeah, see, this has specific sequence numbers. I know these numbers, and these are, I know exactly what it is, if it's genuine or is it copied, or because some people try to copy this, they have a signed book from Mr. Keshe. And the new one is just a signature, has no date, so they're not like the press ones. As I said, there's hundreds of them. Hundreds of these books stuck in Belgian post. They didn't want the technology to be shared. And we paid the post, but never left the country. So it's nice to see. This is one of the original ones. And I know when you bought it.
Yeah, we're trying to sort out some of that, what's original and what wasn't, and there was a couple of different versions and so on that had come out at that time. Like I have this.
You see,
if
you go,
it says 2011 here for the copyright notice.
Go back to it. Go back to the cover. Go back to the cover. You see, this is the original first book. This, if you have this book, these books, these are my writing. These are a lot of English mistakes in it. That time they were opposed, oh, this. So the knowledge is important, not if it is and that and others. The second edition one It's edited by an English woman who made a lot of things she wanted to. We had a big problem with some part of it is done the other way. But if you have this one, these are the originals, and they never made this. Only I think about, I can't remember, 2,000-3,000 of them. The second edition is tens of thousands of them. There is no problem with that. But this, if you have, these are one of the original ones. And I know Belgium Post has, what do you call it, quite a lot of them. FedEx and Belgium Post have a lot of them they kept. Interesting. Do you have all the 3 copies, or is it just one, the 3 books or one book?
No, I have all 3. I got all 3 originally. It took pretty much every penny I had, because the shipping was even more than the book price, actually, I think, at that time. So between the exchange and all, it's quite a bit to invest in at that time. But I was determined to get the books and to pay for them too, because there were ways of getting them, online and that kind of thing, I think, even back then. But it's not correct to do things that way with books, especially, and especially these kind of books from someone like yourself. So Guy also at that time, he paid the price too and got his own set of 3, and we decided to pay for it, and it was a good decision.
All 3 of your books signed, or is it just one was signed?
No, I believe it was just one that I got signed. Let me have a quick look here. No, that's not true. I've got the Structure of the Light is signed here, and probably number 3 as well. I think I got all 3 of them. Let me have a look at that. Yeah. Yeah, it's got a number there, but it's cut off. I can't quite.
Yeah.
I didn't scan it in quite.
Yeah. No, these are the original books. The first edition will not be published again. Somebody asked him when they will not be published. We are holding about 36 of these books, I think, of the first edition. And the second edition, first cycle, I think 7,000 of it still with the Belgium printer by the instruction of the king has been held. We paid them 24,000. We never saw the book, but that's tradition. These are all first editions. You don't find them. It's nice to see it. I remember when I got the first book, first edition in my hand. I have a picture of it somewhere. I have a picture of this first edition book. First picture. Jack Lorenzen took it, and because we gave it to the printer going in, and he said, "Oh, you sell a few, 1 or 2, and friends only buy. Nobody buys books like this." And it's interesting. Some in the archives, there's a photo. I've seen it somewhere. I can't remember where. This picture of the first book ever. Okay, any other question?
Well, we probably need to wrap it up soon here, but let me have a look. There's no more attendees with hands up. There is a couple of more questions if you want to take more. How about some quick questions here from Doug McDonald? Is the GANS brain that Marco began making in Italy still being developed?
What?
The GANS brain that I believe Marco began making in Italy
the
back in the old days. A green thing, I think it was.
Yeah, I remember. I
In a
tried to
sphere.
give it back. No, it cannot be made, but we can make it very easy. We can be we don't have that structure of the knowledge seekers to do the job, and the time, I don't have the time to do it. But what do you call, it can be made. That can be made very easily. Yes. I mean, it's easier now, we understand more of it, but you can make a live computer of it, live spool of it, yes.
Okay, well, that could maybe segue into Seventh Star, one of their additional questions. Can intention, enveloped by feeling of giving, focus, and patience, be used to build a strong connection to plasma, whether it is the sun in the sky, the center of the galaxy, or a simple maggrav device?
Pardon? Repeat.
Can intention, enveloped by a feeling of giving and focus and patience, be used to build a strong connection to plasma, whether it is the sun in the sky, the center of the galaxy, or a simple maggrav device?
I presume so, yes. If you understand what you're doing.
And can one use a maggrav device to release energies that one can absorb using one's intention and then convert them by one's soul to building blocks one needs to achieve one's goals?
Everything is possible. Everything is possible.
How about one more from Seventh Star? How important is it to create low strength fields for manifestations? What effect do they make when flying through the center vortex of different states of matters in comparison to higher strength fields?
Can you repeat that?
He starts out with, how important is it to create low strength fields for manifestations? What effect do they make when flying through the center vortex of different states of matters in comparison to higher strength fields?
That doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it to be able to answer you.
Right. Well, maybe it goes back to another previous question. Is it possible to use focus and intention to release energies from the soul of the heart center, and how emotions created that way contribute to soul expansion and to general well-being?
Repeat that, please. Just repeat what it says.
Is it possible to use focus and intention to release energies from the soul of the heart center, and how emotions created that way contribute to soul expansion and to general well-being?
I cannot understand this.
He seems to have a common thread of this idea of coming through the center, or the center of the vortex kind of thing, that this focus and intention goes through, and that releases energies that might contribute to expansion of the soul. I'm just kind of supposing some things there, so I'd rather just read the question as it is.
I cannot answer.
Well,
I don't understand behind it.
Perhaps they can reformulate one question to incorporate all those questions, because they're similar in some ways. You're sort of getting close to a question that we might be able to answer, but it's not quite there yet, perhaps. How about his last one? We'll try one more. How does intention relate to converting of rays flying through the center vortex of plasma from south to north? How does intention affect what strength of fields flies out of the north point? Can you elaborate, please?
Can you repeat this? Because this
Ken, maybe we're getting closer to something here. How does intention relate to converting of rays flying through the center vortex of plasma from south to north? How does intention affect what strength of fields flies out from the north point? Can you elaborate?
The point is to understand that does not matter where you look at anything. Whenever you add energy or emotion, you call it, or whatever, always is the same. Always adds the same. And you always add to any, what do you call it? Any plasma is not exclusivity of your soul emotion. Any intention can be added or increased or added to a plasma, and always depends if it fits into the structure of that plasma, as it had the strength to be part of it, to be absorbed, to be increased. So it doesn't need to be emotion. You can put a Gans next to it, it's the same. It will be what if he has that strength, it will be shown. Even on the equator, it doesn't need to be the top. There's a misconception that everything comes stronger on the top. There's a reality that everything is inclusive in all dimensions and directions. Any other question?
Okay, a question from Antonio. My question is about the 2 astronauts stuck in the space lab for the next 6 months. Can the Keshe Foundation retrieve them and bring them back sooner?
Americans don't believe in Iranian nuclear physicists, so the answer is no.
Or Boeing.
We don't exist. We don't exist. Sometime recently, I was with some people connected to TEPCO. And when I showed them documents stamped by the Japanese authorities and the rest, they said, how much lies have Americans told us? I said, that depends on your government, how much you accept what they tell you. Because the data is black and white, stamped by the authorities and the rest of it. And what do we accept? And is it to our benefit? we stop offering these things to the Americans because it's just waste of time. Working with these people, they're so arrogant and that they have everything and they know everything. So it's better not to get involved. We stay out of it. And if they have Mr. X, he's supposed to save them, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Apparently, the next flight that SpaceX is going to take, they have to leave 2 of the astronauts out of 4 out of the trip up, so they have room to bring the other 2 back or something like that.
When is it supposed to be done?
I think in a couple of months they go up, but they don't come back until the new year, sometime in January or February. So they have an extended trip.
Well, good luck. I hope they stay safe. And I hope they stay healthy. That's the biggest problem. Rick, check your usual communication line. I've just sent you something. I'm trying to send you something with what we were just talking about before the start of the teaching. It'll be something interesting for you. You can share it if you want, but pick you up. Where are you?
It's not coming through yet, I don't think so.
I can't find your name on it. Where are you?
Sometimes Telegram sort of makes it difficult to find people.
Oh, I found you. I found you. There we are. Just have a look. What we were just talking about before the beginning of the session. I was talking about the gate, the door to a church.
Would you like to say something about that?
Well, yeah, but this is how the churches were, huh? Anybody had any knowledge or the truth, they were beheaded. You can share it if you like, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, I should be able to see it there now. Pretty violent images, lots of swords and lightning and...
This is a door to a church, a very prominent, well-known church in Italy. Our Italian friends can tell us. I went to this church because I wanted to see it, not because of the church, but because of the door of it. If you look at it, there is no difference between this maybe 1,000 years ago, when the Christianity came to Europe, and the Keshe Foundation today. If you see, these are young girls who were at that time virgin girls, were the ones who could do the medicine and everything else, and you see them. And it was on the church. Whoever comes to this church cannot believe in these people, and they were so what do you call it? Adamant that they were so powerful they can do this. Actually, this is the entrance of a door to a church. And there are a number of these churches, doors like this in Italy. The bottom right-hand side you see is a young girl to be beheaded or whatever, and flogged and put on the sticks on the fire, because virgin girls were thought to be like the medicine men, and people believed in them. They couldn't believe in them and the church, and the only thing was to get rid of them. And if you believed in these things, you couldn't come into the church, or if you were one of them, you couldn't come to church. And there is no difference in 1,000 years in man ethos. Keshe Foundation is in the same situation. You cannot, because it doesn't fit. So we're still on the same persecution, or persecuted 1,000 years ago by the same ignorant people. And they still believe in the same church. What's next? Any more, or shall we
Okay,
speak about?
we have maybe one or two more if you can hold out a bit.
Yep.
Question from, well, first of all, we still have, I don't know if I should bring this up, but we have our Chinese guest that had trouble a couple of weeks ago with ingestion of GANs is still
No. Just ignore
thinking
this.
bad things. Okay.
No, we
We've
send them
already
to the Chinese. This is nothing to do with the Keshe Foundation. It's nothing to do with our work, and it's something people do a lot of things themselves. This was handed over to the Chinese Keshe Foundation, and it's for them to handle it. It's nothing to do with our work. It's all made up to be something somewhere.
Okay.
Next question.
From Ali, who says, how can we understand that the constructive interference of the scalar fields of one or more elements has taken place? Is it possible to see the interference of these fields by having a witness like salt water?
If you don't put separation between the scalar fields and what we call it, Tesla speaks about, and other scientists, is if you make ice boxes, that'll be one of the best connection to it, best ways you can see it. But you have to understand, even with that, look for what comes in and what goes out. And there's a technique in detecting this. Originally, they have a different structure of the strength. The scalar waves. And if you do enough of them, depends how you do it. There's a way to separate the scalar waves and make sure that it's not the other way around. Is by ice blocks. But you have to know how you make that block. It has to be made a specific way, and then you can see. And you can measure it. You can actually find the strength of if it's coming in or is it going out. We did this a few years ago with one of our Iranian knowledge seekers extensively. You need a very fast -50 plus freezers that you can encapsulate the fields very quickly. Any other question?
Wolfgang had a question about, is the German edition of the books ready? Is it already in print?
No, we have a problem with this German book. Book 1 is already, again, we have it sorted out. Book 2 and 3, I have to spend, God knows, maybe 2 weeks to go to every comma in the right position, every dot done before we can publish it, and I don't have that time. Book number 1, we can get it printed. We can ask the German community to print it, a few editions for it. Number 2 needs, once we agree with it, needs to be set and everything else. We have, we have it, sorry, in our archives, in our system, we have about, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 different languages the books are translated to. But we never got around to do it, and then when we hit the problem in Belgium with the printers, we just You lose hope, you lose all your strength in doing it. It's something a 250,000 retail value of books sitting, and they deliberately say, you wanted to come here, Belgium king wants to kill you. Your books for your life. That's all it is. But we give them our best wishes. Any other question?
Question from Peng Peter in YouTube about, does feeding oneself come naturally from transmutation? And
yes.
do those who still want to kill, will they not be able to transmute then?
It comes by the decision of the soul. There's no gray area on it. We understand the dilemma the human race is in, and how it needs time to change. And this is something which is not something new. We understand this position clearly, what it is and what it means and what needs to be done. But your soul has that power to do so. We say in English, there are some concessions given, if you put it that way. For the transition. And when you start learning transition, you gradually give up on the other side, or you not give up, there is no need for. You understand that man carries everything through his DNA and RNA, and it goes with the rest of the cat, the dog, and the fish, and the rest of it. And the structure is to change inside, not force to bring the change. Any other question?
Speaking of structures changing from the inside, we have a message from Ukraine, from Feofan, who says, hello, I'm from Ukraine. I have successfully made about 20 reactors. I have also successfully used them for health and as fertilizer. That's the message. Yeah, so that's a nice inside job. Spreading peace in Ukraine and one reactor at a time.
Ukrainian knowledge seekers are used to be very active, but in this turmoil, you don't know what they do and what they are, how safe they are. Keshe Foundation has a very strong base in Russian Space Agency. Many of the scientists were aware and work and done a lot of research around the Keshe Foundation technology. The Ukrainian used to be in a different way. They used to work in knowledge seekers.
Okay, one last question here, perhaps from Nikolai, who's asking if there's any new information from the Keshe Foundation about the Vienna to Iran journey that Canadians and Americans need to sort out.
We will inform those of you who registered to come. We will inform you. It's something you got to understand. Everything for us was black and white. We were going ahead. The president died, and then they had the elections. There's no certainty, and then we had this stupid situation in Iran by the killing of the what they call the Palestinian guy, and they just brought accumulation of delays, and nobody wants to take position. The president doesn't come into actual power till September, and we cannot do it till we have a full cover instruction and in writing. And what we can do, there's one of the biggest problem for us is to be able to retrieve or bring back our material with us out of Iran. We have two parts of the technology presentation. One is for you lot and public, and one is for Iran officials. We maybe spend 5 days with you. We spend about 2-3 weeks with them. And we have representatives of governments will be invited and the rest. And there's a lot of things to be done. And we are still waiting. The Americans, we asked for the restriction to be lifted. The Americans can come into the conference, and the country or the government has a restriction on it. But we're trying to do a lot of other things. We have to receive the authorization from the Iranian officials with this 2-3 elections and what I call murders and whatever, everything is delayed. The minute we receive it, it's their job. They have to issue documents that we can start getting foreigners into Iran and then announce the conference in Iran. And then you have to understand the conference will be a lot of scientists and others are invited from different universities and structures. It's not as easy as China was tough, but this is much tougher. But it's, I think by Monday, Tuesday, or early next week, we're getting some resolution to part of it, as the president has to appoint people, and then we see what we come up with. As I said last week, we made our point clear, and the government and the authorities understand our point. And as we've seen up to now, there's been no changes, and we don't expect changes at this moment of time, unless rogue elements in the structure do something. But what was asked for by the Iranian leadership has been a step down now, and we'll see how people save faces somewhere, and then the conference will go ahead with the rest. Just be patient. The minute it comes, it takes a couple of weeks. We do everything in the background. You don't need to do anything. All you do, you get a time where to go, to which embassy, what time, everything will be done for you. And then you carry on with the normal procedure. Any other question, or shall we call it a day?
Yep, you got to quit asking if there's any more questions. No, we're pretty much at the end here, I think, Mr. Keshe. So
yes,
thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for today. We try to share knowledge as much as we can. And we open, as I said, maybe tonight, the production of the glasses and cosmic bundles. But they'll be very limited because it takes a lot of things out of our research and work. And we opened what you call the German, transmutation, that you can go to Germany when the systems are and enjoy the pleasure of to be able to do it. Thank you very much, and see you next week.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. And to quote Milena in the chat, thank you, Mr. Keshe, for your words. When I listen to your teaching, my sun inside me shines. God bless you. Love to all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. All right, well, that completes our 551st Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, August 15th, 2024. Our next public teaching workshop will be the One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace, and that will be on Tuesday, August 20th, coming up. And that starts at the 4 p.m. Central European Summer Time. And folks are welcome to listen to the members and support members of the Universal Council in that workshop. Okay, I think that's it for today. And let's get our usual flight enhancement spaceship unit music version lined up here. And yeah, and that should complete our workshop for today. Thanks everyone for being here, and we'll see you in the next public teaching workshop.